three-time reigning conference champion Louisville City is in the best run of form of any soccer club in North America. Confidence, sports' most potent performance-enhancing drug. But desperation is a close second. Time is fleeting for St. Louis. Tonight, they hope to fend off their own demise a third straight week. One last time, a King's Cup finale. Indeed, it's one last time. The King's Cup renewed for a finale. It's scarf weather, 61 degrees on this mid-October night. Louisville City taking on St. Louis FC with a trip to the conference final on the line. Welcome to Lynn Family Stadium with Devin Kerr, Mike Watts on hand. A look at the bracket and how we got here. It's all about the E's and the H's on this side in the East. Tampa Bay will host Charleston later tonight. The road to the final runs through Louisville. The championship final November 1st on ESPN. Devin, let's talk about what Louisville's done the last 2.5 months. It's staggering.
Steam just keeps getting better, Mike, right? Well, it was a bit of a gritty performance, to be honest. They were good in the first half. Cameron Lancaster, 17th minute. Corbin Bone in the 86th. They get out 2-0 against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. That was probably their most impressive opponent they were ever going to face in the Eastern Conference playoffs, and they get it done in the round of 16. But this Louisville City team, we've talked about it before. We're going to talk about it again. 12 games unbeaten. That is the longest streak in 2020 in North America. 7 wins in a row, same exact thing, still vying for their 6th consecutive Eastern Conference final.
Meanwhile, St. Louis FC, the numbers aren't as inspiring, but they don't mind that you doubt them.
Yeah, it's bulletin board material, what Steve Trittschuh tells us, and why shouldn't it be? Everybody's picking against them. They have planted this seed of belief that they can do it anywhere, anytime. That's going to have to ring true once again, Mike, as they travel to Louisville City in this Final 8 matchup. The only blemish in their last 5 came in the hands of Louisville City, 1-0 just a few short weeks ago. Steve Trittschuh said they've gone to the tape, they've learned, they know where they can be at their best. They have become entranced with the idea that this will not be their last time stepping on the pitch, nor will they go quietly into the night.
King's Cup, savor it. Only one more. Louisville, St. Louis. Eastern Conference semifinal with lineups and kickoff when we return.
During the Today's the Day event, lease this 2020 Camry LE for $199 a month, or get the last of the 2020 Camrys with 0 for 60 financing, or get up to $3,000 customer cash. Toyota, let's go places.
Since the beginning of this worldwide crisis, Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport has been flying essential travelers across the country and around the world. We want all travelers to know that we have implemented processes and procedures to ensure your health and safety. We have nonstop flights to over 30 destinations nationwide and easy connections to hundreds more around the globe. When you need to fly, fly Louisville.
777 1111 502 777 1111 502 777 1111 502 777 1111. Car wreck, don't let it take a toll. Get your money right. Call Hessick and Poe 502 777 1111 502 777 1111.
This is the 2 for $4 double rally burger with cheese deal from Rally's. A deal so extra not everyone can handle it. With 2 beefy double rally burgers with American cheese and all the fresh fixins for just $4. It takes twice the appetite to dive into this deal. Think you got what it takes to tame this meaty duo? Go ahead, we double beef dare you. Get twice the burgers and double the dare for just $4. Uh-huh. The 2 for $4 double rally burger with cheese deal. Get Rally's delivered.
For the fans who started painting 3 hours before the game. For the fans who celebrate with high fives. For the huggers. The chest bumpers. And this guy. For fans like you who do things your way, there's Park Community Credit Union. Your city, your team, your way.
Welcome back, everybody. Inland Family Stadium. There are St. Louis fans here. What a matchup we've got for you with Evan Kerr, Mike Watts. Tonight's starting lineups presented by Hometown Pizza.
No surprise, no changes for John Hackworth, but there is one change. It's not in the 11. Keep an eye on the 18. Mr. Reliable, Niall McCabe back on the bench from his injury. He's finally fit, possibly an opportunity to make an impact on this squad. We'll see how time plays itself out. And your player to watch tonight, presented by Power Agency, it's got to be Oscar Jimenez. Got another assist in the bag. And watch the relationship that he's created on that left-hand side with Antoine Openo. They have a tendency to over-rotate to the left. They need proper balance tonight. Steve Trittschuh knows that. He's made no changes either, neither to his bench. This back three has gotten good as the time goes on. Mike and I, you and I talked all the way back at the beginning of the year. How can you get your most impressive defenders on the field at once? Go to a three-back system. It's worked nicely. Again, 3-1-1 in their last 5.
So the lights are on. And we've got an incredible matchup here for you. The Kings Cup renewed once more. What a finale it's going to be. Louisville City and St. Louis FC meeting for the very first time in the USL Championship playoffs. Comes over to McMahon. Louisville gets an early ball peppered into the box. Del Piccolo gives chase. Wharton got ahead to it. And back to Jimenez. Plenty of smoke here tonight. About 5,000 in this stadium that holds up to 15,000 due to local regulations and protocols related to COVID-19. It's the kind of game where you would typically get a full 15,000, no question. Dribbles down the line for Del Piccolo. In the end, Devon's 16th all-time meeting. Louisville leads 8 wins, 2 losses, 5 draws. 5th this year, 2nd in a knockout game. They met once in the Open Cup. There's a little something extra in this game. You can feel it.
Yeah, obviously everybody knows what's at stake, and with the opportunity for St. Louis FC to sort of stick it to one of their friendly foes down the stretch of this, what a story that would make for this franchise that is worth repeating, possibly on their last game. And St. Louis FC will be folding at the end of the year, but understand they don't want that to happen.
Tonight's keys to the game are powered by Kentucky Lottery. We remind you that lottery proceeds fund college scholarship and grant programs, including every dollar of the popular Key Scholarship Program.
There's the balance we were talking about. It just has to be better. And for Louisville City FC, we know what goes on the left. Let's balance that on the right as well. Brian Ownby, Pat McMahon. But for St. Louis to have success against that balance, they've got to work from the outside end, specifically defensively. You want to push the attack of Louisville City to the interior. Let Wall fall, Todd Wharton and Guy Ben go to battle down in the depths with the other 3 from Lou City. That's where they're going to be at their best, because if this game gets spread out down into the channels, that's going to favor the home squad.
This portion of tonight's game brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Floated up, driven away by Fink. This will send Kyle Gregg on the run. Will pressure Ben Loon. Lancaster, clever ball. Brian Ownby. That was a question you were asking quite a lot, both to John Hackworth and also to Steve Trittschuh this week. Cameron Lancaster already has dropped into that pocket a handful of times, makes him eminently more difficult to mark.
We've seen him do it in years past, but he comes deeper and it's more frequent this year because of their ability to counter-press out of the midfield. And what do I mean by that? When Lancaster drops in, starts to push extra numbers, you can allow Corbin Bone or Del Piccolo to step up in. But there was a step here a second ago on Tyler Blackwood, and he's punching the ground. He's not feeling good. That's a bad look for Steve Trittschuh inside 5 minutes. Coming right across. Watch Lexi Suai coming off the back line. Looks like his foot got caught up underneath him on the pitch.
Kyle Morton's gone all the way up the field to check on Blackwood. Actually leads St. Louis in first goals scored in games this year. He's done it 4 times. He's had such a tremendous impact, especially down the stretch.
You get a better look, Mike, from a different angle of what's going on with Tyler Blackwood right there. Just gets caught up underneath him. You can't say it's a non-contact injury, of course, because he is doing battle with Lexi Suwahi, but immediately the Englishman pounding the turf. Exactly what's going on here. A lot of admiration from Steve Tritchew's squad on how big this pitch is, what they're able to do with it. Space can prove pretty lucrative for them if they can take advantage, but of course, really impressive Louisville City squad coming in. 6 consecutive Eastern Conference final they're looking for. Only 1 loss in the month of October, dating all the way back to 2016. That was to start that streak. That was the Eastern Conference loss to New York Red Bull, who of course went on to win that year. The only other loss coming at the hands of Nashville SC in the regular season in 2019. It's a pretty massive streak there for Lou City. To think that the St. Louis team, due to the way that the tiebreakers play out, wins, points, goal differential, this is the only team in the entire USL Championship playoffs that do not have the ability to host. They are the bottom seed.
Pressure from Blackwood, who's flying again after being allowed back into the game by the referee. Jimenez. Asking a lot of Holpano there. Greg dropped in, try and create. Tosh ranges over. Now Ben Loon, 8 shutouts now this year. Most of any goalkeeper in the USL Championship. In the local press this week, tried to keep the focus on his teammates and the work they've done, rather than what the 6'7" German has been able to provide. Wall fall. Paris G. Fink. Pressure mounting in the back. Del Piccolo well up the field. Morton drives it away. He was tremendous in that 1-0 win at Hartford, which allowed St. Louis to continue their season. Even Steve Tritchew felt that Hartford gave a little more than they had anticipated. As mentioned pregame, a 90-plus third game winner keeps St. Louis alive. G's cross deflected by Jimenez. Paris G, the native of British Columbia. Number of positions praised for his mentality. Wharton gives chase. Popped up, Williams gets a touch, shot lined by Blackwood, and Lunt goes down to get it. Both coaches were aware if St. Louis scores first, this is going to be a much more intriguing matchup.
And Steve Tritchie is going to be happy at the response from Tyler Blackwood on this, because you can see that there's no jitter in his step whatsoever. If anything, there's a bit more pep. Does a good job just letting this drift across his body, and even though in traffic, still a difficult save coming right at him for Ben Lunt. Well collected.
Jimenez just put Wall-Fall on the ground. Onby pressured by Kavita. Long run all the way to the end line. McMahon won't catch up to it, a goal kick.
And go back a second ago, Mike. This was Tyler Blackwood. Watches this drift right back across his body. Really well done. Just recognizes the space. Lexi Suwahi trying to get that outstretched leg. Those are some of the opportunities. Second and third chances coming off. Quick little restarts. Throws coming from the sideline. So many big bodies up top for St. Louis FC. And Lou City pride themselves on those restarts, both offensively and defensively. They're going to go up, win the first, win the second. If you can't win some of these balls in terms of run of possession, getting yourself those chances in the run of play, you have to be able to capitalize on some of these dead ball situations.
Onby. Allowing Bone further. Shifted back and now off to the left for Jimenez. Has Holpano up the line. Perhaps a surprising team leader in assists this year. Louisville has scored in the first half in each of their last 12 games. That encompasses their entire 2020 North American leading 12-game unbeaten streak. They've scored first in all 7 of their 7-game win streak. Does that continue tonight? Ownby, there's Kavita.
Well, Mike, they're close to almost 30% of their goals coming in the opening 25 minutes. This team, you hear managers talk about getting on the front foot. Execution is a different thing, though. Louisville City go after you. Funny enough, coming back onto the air, having a quick conversation with the producer, running through the elements, and I said, just keep an eye of what we're popping in here. Louisville City like to play quick. They go fast, get momentum, and then you have to fight the uphill battle the rest of the match.
Ten minutes in, Steve Tritchu, the first-year head coach for St. Louis, said these first 15 minutes would be critical. Morton at his feet drives it away. Bone arrives, and that's a dangerous challenge through the back. Sean Hackworth and this largely Louisville partisan crowd disagree. Louisville side that doesn't talk about the possible 6th straight conference final. St. Louis is broken through, contact, penalty! Sean Tosh, shown a yellow card. Blackwood, injured earlier, forces Louisville into a penalty. How about this early drama?
Well done, they start from the middle. Big diagonal up over the top, spreads loose City. And watch the ball that comes through, the little flick. Lovely done by Kyle Gregg. We referenced Lancaster in the pocket. Kyle Gregg gives us his best impersonation, and then they're off to the races. Sean Tosh just gets caught up under the pitch, takes Blackwood down. 100% a foul. It is an attempt to play on the ball. That's why he's given the yellow. Inside the box, points to the spot, and an opportunity for St. Louis FC.
Blackwood has really been quite good to start. The World of Beer yellow to Sean Tosh. Wall fall against Ben Loon. St. Louis a chance to grab an early lead on the road. Wall fall, save Loont, and he pounces back on it. And the pendulum swings early in Louisville's corner.
I had an idea this was coming, Mike. It's a tell. Wallfall does tend to go to his right side. Even then, it's still not the best penalty. Well read by Benton, but look at how close it is to the goalkeeper. He's still got a lot of work to be done. But Wallfall showed his cards.
Watch out, Ownby toward Lancaster. It's a bit short. Wallfall sends it upfield. Devin, how big of an impact does that make on psyche, if any at all?
It's massive for sure, and especially for Louisville City FC, you feel like you've got a chink in the armor. Absolutely not. The blacksmith on site sews them right back up. And Sean Tosh recognizes he got something wrong, but there's a great save by Ben Loon. They don't put their heads down. They start battling back on the other side. Watch the response now from St. Louis FC. This could easily send them into entrapments on the other side. Hopefully not.
Ball for Paris G, out of his reach. Lancaster, Corbin Bone. Mentioned earlier, Louisville not worried about the history of going to a 6th straight conference final in their 6 years as an organization. They just see St. Louis as next on the docket. Winner of this one will face either Charleston or the Tampa Bay Rowdies for a chance to win the East and move on to the USL Championship final on November 1st. Was lost here by St. Louis. Hopino tried to traverse a wide swath of St. Louis players. Wall fall, gave it back to Sawahi. Good read by G. Todd Wharton took that away. Perhaps it was Wharton and Fink who returned to the lineup after disappointing second yellows. Ones that I'm not sure St. Louis agree with still to this day. 2 games before the end of the regular season. St. Louis had to beat Indy at home in the final day to assure a playoff spot. In doing so, knocking off one of the odds-on favorites at the beginning of the year from even making the postseason. Then they had to go to Hartford. Knocked off one of the more impressive resurgences this league has ever seen, leading them tonight to Louisville, Kentucky. The fate of their franchise hanging in the balance. Pressure from Williams helps to return the ball to Louisville only for a moment. Del Piccolo off the clearance by Morton. Bone, Lancaster.
It's an odd little take.
One way to put it.
Yeah, of course the other times in the training ground that ends up in the top corner, right? Just Cameron Lancaster trying to gain some of his own momentum. Most of what you've seen out of him so far has been sort of in that false 9 type role, dropping down in as we alluded to earlier.
Are you surprised by how high Louisville is playing off goal kicks?
No, not at all. You have to understand that St. Louis FC was always going to have to work for this, but given the way that they like to play, it's getting, the movement and in the open space for Kyle Gregg and Tyler Blackwood. Referenced favoriting the left side for Louisville City. Could maybe make that argument for Russell Cicerone on the left-hand side, though defensively, he's had a lot of work to do recently. I'm really impressed with his efforts. Paris G, of course, we talked about the versatility of him, defender by trade. Tasked with trying to create the 1-2 punch on the right side as a counter option to Russell Cicerone, but make them work to play out of the back. A lot more movement out of the middle. Entrusted to St. Louis FC with the high line from Lou City.
Hopino, crossing Lancaster, chest, shoots, scores! That's a dozen goals on the year for Cameron Lancaster, and Louisville takes the lead.
You got to go back, Mike, to September 19th, talking to John Hackworth and said, what do you guys need to do to get better come playoff time? By then, they had sealed their fate of being into the final 16. He said, I got to find a way to get Cameron Lancaster on the score sheet. 3 out of the last 4 games he's done it, and there is the left side that I talked to you about. The relationship between he, Corbin Bone, Antoine Opino. Everybody getting involved in this attack moving forward. The rotation to their assist leader outside finds Lancaster on the back post, who could have taken a nap and still put this thing away.
That goal presented by the Kentucky Lottery, fueling imagination, funding education, the Kentucky Lottery. And so make that 13 in a row in which Louisville has scored in the first half. Contact there. Fanuel Kavita, Ownby still down and gesturing. And John Hackworth, Louisville's coach, is incensed. That could have been a dastardly moment. Now foul conceded and a card coming to Speedy Williams. John Hackworth is absolutely livid.
What starts on one side on the tackle against Brian Ownby and Fanuel Kavita. It's a foul for sure. Then you start to go the other direction. And fool me once turns into a really good opportunity for St. Louis FC. Touched by Brian Ownby. It's a foul 100%. Referee doesn't call it. St. Louis FC goes down to the other end. Now set piece opportunity just outside the box.
Yellow card presented by World of Beer. What kind of card was that if it's given on the other end?
It's sort of that beauty in the eye of the beholder. The problem is the ball definitely is traveling towards net, but it's also pretty far. There can be a recovery there. Picking the brain of some really high-rated officials within pro referee, they would probably tell you that's subjective. I'm giving it a yellow because of the fact there's a recovery from St. Louis FC. You could make the argument for a red, though. Instead, no foul given at all.
And now St. Louis 20 minutes in trying to respond. Wharton and Cicerone over the ball. Cicerone runs by. It's Wharton. It's a speared header in. Sam Fink, but no, it's offside. It was nearly the franchise's all-time leader in appearances that drew them level. Reminder, although we've come to find out VAR isn't an end-all be-all.
Yeah, easy there.
You Liverpool fans. Greg, there's Loot. There is no VAR, of course, in the USL Championship. Let's get another look.
Really difficult. Watch him right outside the top of the 18. Stutter. Oh, that's really close. I don't know, Mike. He stutters for sure and then starts to lean forward. Really difficult to tell.
Jimenez. Goodness. The drama. It's all over this already. A missed penalty from St. Louis. Saved by Lunt. And then this here. Here's the freeze.
Again, Mike, the angle really difficult. Look at everybody on the backside. Sean Tosh in front. Del Piccolo, the captain. I'm not sure I see it, man. There's a lot of bodies in the way there, but he looks lined up pretty square with that back line.
Based on our view, we don't have 18-yard cameras. My first thought was that was a good goal.
Well, no foul on one end, no goal on the other. It was a penalty, though, so we got that one right.
Yeah. Jimenez is a long way away from home. And here comes Ownby. Transition offense from Louisville, so difficult to stop. Ownby curling in, his touch lets him down. That's a dangerous run through. Kavita is down. Ultimately, it's two players going after the ball. Don't know that there's a card to come with this.
This is a how do you do from just moments ago when Brian Ownby got whacked by Fanuel Kavita on that quick little counter. He understands this touch right there. A little stumble as well, gets away from him, repays the favor. Just moments prior to the set piece opportunity that Lamb did St. Louis FC the cold back goal.
This is a warning for the bearded one. But no caution for Brian Ownby. While we have a moment, St. Louis did send fans to this game. It's the first time fans been able to watch a St. Louis game in person in a while. And of course, safety comes first. Given back to Louisville, plenty of contact. There's the whistle. There's Guy Bend, the longtime Louisville player, quickly back into play. But Stuart Holmgren and his new bride, Sarah, congratulations to them both. Proud Louligans both. Not with the team today, but hopefully maybe keeping an eye on their smartphone. Lancaster. Lancaster tried to swing by and then commits a foul. Toby Adewale had gone a long way from the right side to the left to try and cover this up.
And if Lancaster hits this one time across, he's got Antoine Openo streaking on the back post. That was the idea, trying to cut it back, and just a few too many touches that allowed the tackle to take shape. And tell you what, man, City feel good about themselves right now, Mike. Look at the rotation that you're getting out of the players. Another challenge on this near touchline right in front of the fourth official, though. That's the argument with Oscar Jimenez. That's the conversation coming on the south line as well.
Harris G is going to go into the book, a yellow card. Yellow card brought to you by World of Beer.
They're getting their money's worth tonight.
And that happened so close to the touchline. The ball's literally maybe a foot and a half off the line. Difficult to tell whether we get a good view of this or not.
Oh yeah, it's a little rough and tumble.
There you go.
Yeah. Nice little neighborly hug.
Lukasz Zapala is the referee in this affair. It's Tom Felice, the AR on the near side. Tiffany Turpin on the far side. Eric Tattersall, the fourth. Another foul. Devin is a referee. This must be as difficult a game as you can imagine to try and properly take command of, especially when there's some early issues that maybe aggrieve both sides.
Two coaches that, how do we put this?
They love referees.
They're not exactly quiet.
Oh, okay.
A bit more vocal. And you think about what we've gone through in the opening 25 minutes, Mike. You've got the goal by Cameron Lancaster. The goal called back, that Sam Fink, to me looked good. The penalty, the no call against Brian Ownby, the follow through on his card.
And Speedy Williams is on a yellow, so one would imagine this isn't far away from a last talking to for a player who's such a key cog in holding midfield for Louisville City. Driven ahead, there's a tap to that with Wallfall giving chase. McMahon circles around. Pat McMahon, pride of the University of Illinois, Chicago. A bend. Wharton back to Fink. His equalizing goal around the 20th minute mark, wiped off the board. Right now it's Cameron Lancaster's in the 18th. Has Louisville ahead. That's the 9th time this season he has scored the opening goal in a game, remarkably. Nice little ball back here. The shot is on and hammered right at Loon.
And the good news for St. Louis FC is they're not lacking for confidence. This back three pushing really high, spreading themselves out. See steps by Adewale and Fanuel Kavita coming off the back line, trying to overload the midfield. They're challenging Corbin Bone and Del Piccolo. Pull one of the runners away, make you come get it and open up space. Other opportunities in behind. Haven't exactly been overly crisp on the ball, St. Louis, but they haven't been poor.
Given away here. Stashed forward, Lancaster seeking out hope, and no! Morton to save, follow-up, binked too high. Pat McMahon getting way up the field. Nearly threw a dagger right into St. Louis.
Proper balance once again. John Hackworth grinning from ear to ear at this point in time because you're getting the late run from your outside back. Pat McMahon already very high on the field. Lancaster over the left shoulder, and just watch the back post run right there. Great job on pressure coming across from Fanuel Kavita. This could have easily been 2-0 if not for that.
Mentioned McMahon, UIC grad. McMahon played in Rochester, won a title there on to FC Cincinnati. Approaching 100 games in the championship. Player that's just too steady to leave out of the lineup. He left for what had been planned for over a year. Got married and quickly returned into the starting role when he got back about a month ago. Lancaster. Morton. Right to Williams. What's the answer here for St. Louis to turn the tide here? Are you trying to hoover up a second ball? Are you trying to possess?
I'm just staying calm. And Steve Churchew's telling his boys the same thing. Understand that this is going to be an emotional game no matter what. Hit on the fact that Lancaster gets the opener, Sam Fink's equalizer gets taken away. You have to keep a level head on yourself. You look to Mr. St. Louis like Sam Fink. How about Guy Abend in the midfield? He's pretty spectacular performance against Hartford Athletic. Your goalkeeper, your manager as well. Just understand that there's still 60 minutes to go in this match, Mike. That's a long way to start making a massive amount of changes. They'll feel just fine the way that they are. Just rely on the channel play. Again, it all goes back to finding your midfield three. Guy Ben, Todd Wharton dancing on the ball right now, and of course, Walt Fall.
A bend nearly snuck that in around the backside. Jimenez.
Now look at the shape, Mike. Really well condensed on the backside. No ability for Lancaster to drop in. They've spread the three of Fall, Wharton, and Abend pretty flat. But also, look at Tyler Blackwood, Kyle Gregg. They're dropping back as well. They're just keeping the game in front of them. They're happy to let this go side to side. Steve Churchu said that they saw it before. The do-si-do doesn't bother him at all. It's that vertical stretching that you've seen the success out of Louisville City so far 30 minutes in. He needs to keep that at bay. Holding this shape defensively is exactly what they're asking for. This is what they don't want right here.
Kavita got a touch to that. Ombi spins him around. This will be a corner for Louisville for 31 minutes. First corner here of this match. Corner kicks are presented by Single Point Solutions. In your corner with superior customer support. Single Point Solutions. Jimenez, only 2 assists this year, one of the leading chance creators in this league year after year. Jimenez snagged by Morton. That was a remarkable acrobatic catch in the end. That came in with a lot of heat. One would imagine the hydration break is not far behind here. The band, good ball, Blackwood. Gregg making the run, Blackwood. There's Tosh. This will get out in the Estopinal end. Corner, St. Louis.
Kyle Gregg was asking for this earlier. Tyler Blackwood hits this a second sooner. He just takes one too many touches that allows Sean Tosh to get all the way back across and sell his body out to get out in front of this ball. If he hits it first time, Blackwood's in, and Kyle Gregg's on the receiving end. Pump fake. See, right there, looks the second time. If he hits it the first time, Mike, you've got Kyle Gregg wide open. It's a great recovery from the center back.
Cicerone delivers. Takes 2 ricochets, Wall fall the last. And Wale sends it back in, a bend. Guy a bend. Almost took someone's head off, making their way down the stairs. And we've reached the hydration break. What's been a wild Eastern Conference semifinal thus far. This has been a wild start, so let's get you caught up on what you've missed if you're just joining us now. Early going, penalty conceded. It's Tosh into the back of Blackwood.
12th minute, Wallfall steps up, and again, watch his hips because he's open the entire way here. Sticks it with the instep, doesn't get it outside enough. Seen him go that way multiple times. Had an inkling that it might happen again. And he pretty much feeds the entire story to Ben Lute. Still has to make a good save. Goalkeeper does so. Phenomenal response from Louisville City. 6 minutes later, Cameron Lancaster wide open on the back post. Sticks it home in the 18th minute. Great ball by Antoine Openo. And Louisville City in the driver's seat once again. As mentioned, coming in, looking for their 6th consecutive Eastern Conference final. Here's how they fared in the previous 5 semifinals. Pretty interesting. Charleston Battery twice. Mike Anhauser's a little upset right now, but of course he's got the opportunity to make amends for himself at Al Lang. Bethlehem Steel, 2-0 victory. And Pittsburgh Riverhounds, of course, Louisville City to add to that 2017-2018 USL Championship winners. Could not grab that third star. Champions were not made in 2019 as they would fall to the Real Monarchs.
Cameron Lancaster, the opening goal of this one. He's now on 12 goals this season, including 2 in 2 games in the playoffs. Elsewhere, the Rowdies and the Battery are scoreless in the 34th minute of their match. If Louisville were to win, they would host. If St. Louis were to win, they would go away to either Charleston or Tampa Bay. We have a moment. Great news came in this week. I think surprising even Louisville with the timing of the announcement. 2023 NCAA Division I College Cup is going to be making its way to Louisville. U of L going to be hosting this wonderful venue. Sacramento Republic's new stadium will also host. They'll also host the Women's College Cup the following year. And Lancaster goes down, and this has to be a major concern. He's grappling with his left calf. He dealt with a bit of a knock inside 70 minutes against Pittsburgh and came off early in that game. He felt a bit of a twinge.
See, there's not much to the challenge by Sam Fink. It's a foul for sure as he gets caught trying to play out of the back. And with the turnover, just gets caught up behind Cameron Lancaster. Keep an eye on him. It is something they've been nursing for sure. 36 minutes in. I promise you that John Hackworth and Danny Cruz aren't interested in that conversation.
Off the 5th-3rd free kick. And Wally slides it away. You and I were a bit perplexed at the time. The choice to bring Lancaster off against Pittsburgh.
That makes sense now.
Absolutely. He felt a little bit of a twinge. We were told in his groin right about 45 minutes. Came out for the second half. Conversation was go just as long as you can before you really feel a problem on the way. That's how you have to manage a player of Cam's incredible aptitude, but also a history of soft tissue injuries. One at this stage of the year could put you out for the season.
To be fair for Louisville City as well, they had that option on the bench with Jason Johnson and of course Luke Spencer being there, but the game wasn't really ever in doubt for them. Now, it was not pretty necessarily in the second half, but by no means were the Pittsburgh Greyhounds fighting back in, so it was much easier for the coaching staff on the sideline for Lou City to make that change, Mike. Understand, they're not going to have that luxury tonight. And St. Louis FC is going to fight to the death of this thing. Cameron Lancaster going out could be the lethal injection for Lou City.
Man to throw. St. Louis team that won once on the road in the entire regular season. It was at Louisville. Then they won at Hartford to start their playoff run. I hope Lightning does strike twice here. Devin, we were told a bracket that made TV a couple weeks ago that left them off it entirely was the big picture up in the dressing room. I'm pretty sure you and I were considered bulletin board fodder for our expert picks on USLchampionship.com. You've been in St. Louis's shoes. There's no gasoline you want to leave out of the tank in a game like this.
No, and to be fair, in that conversation with Steve Tritzio, I said, prove us wrong. You know, we would all love to be proved wrong. Of course, it comes down, for any argument for me, Mike, it comes down to the eye test and what these teams are capable of.
Excellent. Ownby. It's good recovery. That was Tyler Blackwood sneaking back. And there is sort of a prove-it mentality to this St. Louis team. They've only been to the playoffs once in their history. Not once did they get to stay in the same conference year to year. It's always been a roller coaster.
Their goal against Hartford Athletic was their first playoff goal.
Yeah.
That gives you an idea of what this team has been through. And every single year coming in, okay, they've retooled this. They've kept the core here. Can they find a way to get into the playoff conversation once again? Of course, the Open Cup had something to say about it in their run alongside New Mexico United last year. Anthony Pulis, then head coach, admitting they just didn't have the depth.
Oh, look at this. Bone! Bone! Morton. Easy stop in the end. Not a lot on that. But a year ago, St. Louis went all the way to the U.S. Open Cup quarterfinal. Played 3 MLS sides. Steve Tritchu was watching. Initially the coach at Colorado Springs, eventually let go there for making the move to St. Louis over the offseason, initially to run the academy, and eventually, after Anthony Pulis' departure to be head coach, there just wasn't enough in the tank last year, and you don't feel that with St. Louis right now. They feel like the tank is full.
Most importantly, they've got the confidence, but right now they got to get help in the middle, Mike. There is too much of a difficulty coming off of this back line trying to play out. Now, yes, there is pressure coming from Lou City, but you have to find a way. Wallfall coming really deep, and there's a little bit of a step by Todd Wharton sometimes, other times Gaia Ben. I'm pulling those guys back. I'm asking for more help because too many a time we're seeing Adewale, Fanuel Kavita, Sam Fink the past few times trying to take that step into the midfield, and he's either A, pushing the ball too far out in front of him, or B, he's getting closed down pretty rapidly. And then the turnover comes. Now you've spread your back line out, and it's 4v2, it's 5v2. Louisville City, unfortunate they haven't been able to take advantage of it, but St. Louis FC opening up their back line right now to a load of problems.
Adewale streaking in, kind of hold of that long ball, and Lancaster threw his boot out. Caught the hugely athletic center back who's really forced into this right-hand side by way of this 3-back, one which St. Louis felt Louisville would struggle to break down with consistency, but one that has 3 defenders who at some point have earned or been on the cusp of all-league recognition. Adewale in from Pittsburgh, Sam Fink around the block here. Fanuel Kavita coming in from Real Monarchs. Ownby.
Well, Toby Adewale, though, Mike, he is capable. Understand that, you know, people like to look him to go, he's one of Bob Lilly's guys. He was actually there in 2017 with Dave Brandt prior to the arrival of Bob Lilly in 2018. You know, 70+ appearances on a back line, always rotating, but philosophy staying the same for Bob Lilly. And they did use him on the right side. They would move him into the middle. Of course, not used in one of those wingback positions. That was reserved for Ryan James, Jordan Dover. But the luxury that you have under Bob Lilly is he gives you such a high IQ of what he's expecting out of you and helping push that thought process into another level. So Toby Adewale stepping in. That was a big pickup for St. Louis FC. And Steve Tritchu did say, look, when I came here, all these pieces were already in place. All the work had been done. They just wanted me to steer this in the right direction. And they've definitely given themselves an opportunity so as we have reached the final 8.
Steve Tritchu admitted, truthfully, I didn't know Toby Adewale at all. But quickly figured out
this guy's not bad.
Starter earlier
early
in the year over Sam Fink. A couple of injuries caused them to rethink the process and how to get all 3 on the field. Perhaps what impressed most was when Adewale stepped in due to the injury to Joe Greenspan in Pittsburgh. He really spread his wings. I don't know that there's any regular for St. Louis who's going to struggle to find work next year somewhere or another. It was an intriguing ball over the top. Blackwood was following. Closing in on halftime, we'll have the dish for you, get you caught up on news and notes from around the USL Championship and show you first half highlights, of which there are many, despite the scoreline. Jimenez. Holpino, great move around G. Holpino spins, serves, comes off bone again. Lancaster tries to get a piece. Ownby. Could that get out?
Oh, it's out.
It's in the futsal courts.
A little bit early for a taxi there, Brian Ownby.
Wow. First ball to get out of this venue. It's like going into McCovey Cove.
Except the kids that are on the futsal court just go, oh, great, we got 2 of them now.
Another ball.
Let's play.
This one is select.
I knew this game was fun.
See on the ribbon boards around the field. Championship game November 1st on ESPN and ESPN Deportes. Louisville trying to go back to their 4th consecutive final. St. Louis hopes to go out with the ultimate bang. Club that's known their ultimate fate now for months. 4 added minutes. Stoppage time presented by the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. Goodness, with St. Louis adore an equalizer right before the break. Cicerone wiggling, getting the shot away. Luke fired that back out toward Greg. This will be a throw. St. Louis was gesturing for a corner. Served again, nodded out into the channel. Jimenez. Well, there'd be room to operate, but a tough ball to handle for Omby. Cicerone again. When he gets forward, he can really cause problems. Challenge there from McMahon. It'll be a free kick. Does he escape a card to go with it?
Well, that's where I'm going. With the way that this match has gone, you would imagine this would be a yellow. Watch him come all the way back across here. Great job by Cicerone. Little touch back across the body, shimmy over to the left foot. Well done. That was the chance just before. And you get a look at a 1v1 battle once again. This time he gets by Bone. Pat McMahon actually goes to ground pretty early here. Saw the writing on the wall as he had just experienced it. Said goes to ground early, does escape the yellow though.
Is there a set piece goal to be had here for St. Louis? One already wiped off the board due to an offside call. Cicerone steps over. It's delivered. Who got that last? Louisville clearly frustrated. It is a corner for St. Louis FC. Halfway through first half stoppage. Tampa Bay and Charleston have just reached halftime in their game. Both teams cognizant of that scoreline as well. It is 0-0 in St. Pete. Wharton. Adewale waits. Spears it forward off the post and eventually tipped over. Luke spared his blushes by an incredible trail back and tap over.
This looks like Adewale is just trying to put it back in and pick out the far post. Ben Loot probably feels the same thing, but as much pace as he gets behind the ball, really well done to challenge Ben Loot off his line just a little bit and help from the woodwork.
Another different look off the set piece. They set a pick. Cicerone delivers back post. Was that hit by Hopino or not? It was not. Goal kick. It was Gaia Bend who's at the post, a man who was once found via highlight tape by James O'Connor. 29-year-old native of Israel. Once played for Louisville to the tune of 63 games. Believe you me, there have only been 6 shots in the other Eastern Conference semifinal. If you're watching this, you chose the right one.
You're welcome. Well, that's a handball, no?
That's Lancaster's shout. Fink perhaps has gotten away with one. There's the halftime whistle. Devin, a lot to unpack in 20 seconds.
I said coming in that Louisville City had to be careful of the balance. I think they've done a good job going left and right. They need to continue that in the second half. Conversely, for St. Louis, they haven't. Everything is going through Russell Cicerone on the left-hand side. Have to find a way to start to challenge the other side of Louisville City FC. The tendency is to continue to go left. That will not bode well for them in the second half. Also, Wallfall, Guy Ben, Todd Wharton coming really deep to help out. They have to find a way to get on the ball more and reset this shape moving forward. There's too much green area in the midfield. Lou City's eating it up.
Cameron Lancaster in his last 2 years in Louisville, sandwiched around a difficult season in Nashville, now 38 goals, including 1 tonight. Next up is the Passport Health Plan halftime report in this Eastern Conference semifinal at the half. Louisville 1, St. Louis 0.
Toyota, let's go places.
777 1111 502 777 1111 502 777 1111 502 777 1111. Car wreck, don't let it take a toll. Get your money right. Call Hessick and Pole 502 777 1111 502 777 1111.
This is the 2 for $4 double rally burger with cheese deal from Rally's. A deal so extra not everyone can handle it. With 2 beefy double rally burgers with American cheese and all the fresh fixins for just $4. It takes twice the appetite to dive into this deal. Think you got what it takes to tame this meaty duo? Go ahead, we double beef dare you. Get twice the burgers and double the dare for just $4. Uh-huh. The 2 for $4 double rally burger with cheese deal. Get Rally's delivered.
Another morning in Louisville. A new start each time, rain or shine. Where new goals are set and success comes with sweat. Families are launched, ovens are fired up, tables are turned, and kids are ready to learn. Mornings are more than a start, but it's already a part of your day. So, get up. Get out there. Find your morning with WDRB.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Passport Health Plan halftime report. About a third full tonight. There's about 10,000, maybe 20, that'll say that they were here for this Eastern Conference semifinal. Louisville 1, St. Louis 0. So much happened in the conference quarterfinal round. One man can't possibly cover it all. Yes, he can. It's Devin with the dish.
Dishing it to you live, Sweet 16, St. Louis FC visiting Hartford Athletic. Hartford Athletic had plenty of opportunities to put this game away. Instead, Joaquin Rivas puts it to bed in the 93rd minute. Second on the year for him. He's healthy, comes on as a substitute, gets the game winner. They move on. Louisville City hosting the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Highest anticipated matchup in the entire USL Championship. Louisville City were phenomenal. Pittsburgh Riverhounds were poor. 2-0 Lou City. They move on again. It's like Groundhog Day in the Eastern Conference. Stay with me here. Tampa Bay Rowdies hosting Birmingham Legion. Odd game here. 2 goals for the Rowdies to start. Response from Birmingham Legion. We get it to 2-2. Lucky M. Kasana comes on as a sub. He gets a goal on his second touch. Leo Fernandez gets a goal in the 80th minute. They move on 4-2. It's called tit for tat. Look it up. Charleston Battery at the Charlotte Independence. Charlotte Independence. They had to fight back into this. Opening goal by Q Daly, Hugh Roberts, but on the tail end of it, it's some really poor goalkeeping, which may be coming from the goalkeeper of the year, Brandon Miller. Off his line, Basua, there's your game winner. 101 minute. Charlotte Independence out. Charleston Battery, Mike Anhauser, the dream is still alive. Final in the West, Reno 1868 4. Los Angeles Galaxy 1. This was actually gained right up until halftime. 2-1, courtesy of Corey Herzog. And then Reno took off in the second half. Herzog got his second. Foster Langsdorff got his first. They win 4-1. That's pretty much all she wrote for the youngsters from Los Dos. Bit of controversy here. Chris Wehan doesn't touch his hand. You see the elbow flick. It's really difficult to tell. It comes out. Multiple angles. Again, no VAR. 101st minute. I think we heard that before from the Battery. Instead, we're in the Western Conference. Peter Trevisani's boys and Troy Lesane, they move on to the final 8. El Paso Locomotive, FC Tulsa, Leandro Carrijo, brace. But of course, Rodrigo da Costa and Callum Chapman Page would have something to say about it. Saeed Robinson, the final goal from the spot. Did he pull something? We'll find out later on tonight. Mark Lowry's team, they're into the final 8. Phoenix Rising, Sacramento Republic, Everybody took a nap except for this. Salman Asante woke up from the snooze fest, and it hits his hand, ends up in the back of the net. As mentioned, there is no video review, but it doesn't matter. Here are your final 8. Phoenix Rising move on after beating Sacramento Republic. Mark Briggs and company will have to wait till 2021. And as we see it, of course, halftime, St. Louis FC, Louisville City. Charleston Battery and the Rowdies doing battle at the same time. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Reno hosting Phoenix Rising, and Mark Lowry and New Mexico United turning the page at 9:30. It's great to be sweet. It's even better to be elite. But who will our Final Four be? We'll catch you next week on The Dish.
It's the arrival. I came in the league, went straight for the title. No time to idle. I'm finna get it, put that on a Bible. This is survival. Gotta treat every movement like the final. Get it, don't mindset.
Welcome back to the Passport Health Plan halftime report. Masked up, distanced out. What a night here in Louisville. Second home playoff game at this gorgeous new venue with Devin Kerr, Mike Watts. 1-0 Louisville here at the break. Let's take a look at scores from around the league. They're brought to you by CoSair Charities, enhancing the health and well-being of children since 1923. We're at the half as well, Devin and St. Pete.
Not many shots on target, as you mentioned. I'm looking at their stats right now. Only one has actually hit the frame. 6 overall. Right around 200 touches, and obviously being pretty glued to the television right now of what this game has been for us. Hard to get an idea of what's going on there, but of course, Phoenix Rising visiting Reno, and New Mexico United doing battle with their familiar foe in Group C, El Paso Locomotive.
Let's remind you what the Eastern Conference playoff picture looked like coming into the night. Louisville has their front foot into the conference final. They would host either Charleston or Tampa Bay.
Still, for me, the remaining teams, I see Charleston Battery getting a result on the road. I know it's 0-0 at halftime. I understand it's Al Lang. Understand that the Rowdies have 5 blemishes on their record all year long. 10-3-3. 4 came at the hands of the Charleston Battery. 5th time's a charm.
USL Championship Final will be November 1st. Perhaps it'll be back here at Lynn Family Stadium, but I'm sitting next to the voice of the College Cup for ESPN, Devin Kerr. Devin, you'd love to come to this place for that game.
I would have no problem walking into this stadium and asking Lance McGarvey to please remove himself so that I can hang out for a College Cup game. I'm sure he'd be happy. Look, we can break bread together and we'll be right back to norm.
Well, you know, I could fill in on PA if Lance has other things to do.
Who
knows? Yeah. It is 1-0 Louisville here over St. Louis in this hotly anticipated conference semifinal. We'll have first half highlights and first half stats when we return. You're watching the Passport Health Plan halftime report.
Legendary. Legendary. Are you ready? Are you ready? Better make way, 'cause
During the Today's the Day event, lease a new 2020 Tacoma SR Double Cab for $179 a month, or get big customer cash on Tacoma, 4Runner, and Tundra up to $2,250. Toyota, let's go places.
She's been in speech therapy since she was 3, and they couldn't diagnose what was wrong with her. We went to a specialist, and she has some processing problems. The COSER Kids program help us with pretty much everything. The hearing aids and the FM system, she improved like almost 50%. Once you apply the system is really easy. You go online and put all the information. Now I know that she can. I know that she's destined to do great things. COSER Charities has given my daughter the opportunity to reach her full potential on everything.
To apply for assistance or to support the COSER Kids program, go to coser.org/kids.
My name is Alex Thomas, and I am a third-generation owner-operator of Thomas Car Wash.
Eli Thomas. I'm second-generation Thomas Car Wash. We were founded in 1946. My father and my uncle, they hand-washed. I started in, when we were 8 and 9 years old. We'd come home from school, my father would call, tell us to come and do front and back bumpers. We could barely reach the bumper, but he wanted us working early. We're still with it, me and my brother and my son. We've been around for, 70-something years. Gotta be doing something right.
Thanks for watching the Passport Health Plan halftime report. Louisville 1, St. Louis 0. Let's take a look at first half highlights with Evan Kerr, my favorite highlight. Mike Watts as well. And let's take a look at first half highlights. These are the ones. We began back in the 12th minute of play.
Steve Tritchua got exactly what he wanted. Great little drop down in the midfield, flick on by Kyle Gregg, and off to the races with Tyler Blackwood. Shantosh gets himself in trouble, takes Tyler Blackwood down, point to the spot, wall fall. Automatic a lot of times, but he does tend to go to his right, does it once again, opens up the hips. Ben Lutz read that book before. Great save by the German goalkeeper. Not the best of penalties, still work to be done. He does that. Turn the page. Cameron Lancaster, 18th minute. Watch him drifting on the back post. I'm still trying to figure out, how does he have so much space here? It's a great run by Brian Ownby, who's not going to get enough credit here, but he drifts across the center. Neither Kavita nor Fink understand that Cameron Lancaster, the leading scorer for Louisville City and a top-tiered goal scorer in the entire league, is wide open on the back post. Louisville City go up 1-0. Response from St. Louis FC almost immediately. Gone back and looked multiple times, didn't see it from the run of play, didn't see it from the replay. They call Sam Fink off. I think the refereeing crew got this one wrong, Mike.
Sam Fink diving into this. He is the all-time leading appearance getter for St. Louis FC and unlucky not to equalize. Speaking of, Adewale, call this whatever you want. Just call it off the bar.
You made a really good comment right around the 40th minute about how many different looks St. Louis FC was giving you from restarts, whether it be a throw-in or a corner. So many variations of a play they were sending at you. This was the last one. Adewale, nice little strike off his head. Touch up over the bar by Loon. Actually comes off the crossbar with a little help. Lou City holding on to their 1-0 lead at halftime. Stats are brought to you by Park Community Credit Union, the official credit union of Louisville City FC. Anything here surprise you? Not whatsoever. You know, the shots on target for St. Louis are nice. I still think that they've brought some good play. I need more out of their midfield three. I really do. Todd Wharton, Wallfall, Guyben, they're having to work so much defensively to try and help out the back line that when they go flat and the ball starts to turn over, there's no stretch. So Tyler Blackwood and Kyle Gregg are off on their own little island. Also, they've got to find a way to get the right side involved more. Paris Jeet has to get active, really challenge Oscar Jimenez, because even though Lou City have a good balance, they're still coming down this left-hand side. Jimenez is having a field day. Paris Jeet's got to fight back. You've got to get in behind him, start getting some of those long balls up over the top, get combination play with Kyle Gregg and Tyler Blackwood. There is applause here, as there have been all year, for the healthcare heroes. And if I may, Steph Carey, the wife of Ian Carey, the head coach for the University of Kentucky women's soccer program. I spoke with Ian this week about the nurse practitioner at the University of Kentucky's hospital and all that they've been through over the course of the last few months, how much she's given, leaving her clothes in the garage at the beginning of March, not sure if she was bringing things home. They have a 23-month-old son, Aiden,
And all of our healthcare heroes, thank you. From those involved in the beautiful game to far beyond. Underway in this second half, and St. Louis was looking to get right back into this thing. Louisville 12 unbeaten, 7 wins on the bounce. They are the #1 point-getting team in the USL Championship. They are 2-1-1 this year against St. Louis FC. This is the 16th all-time meeting, with full awareness that St. Louis FC will be folding at the end of the season whenever it comes, in part due to the financial constraints of COVID-19, as well as the arrival of MLS. Look at this header. Comes back to Lunt. An easy floater for him to grab. St. Louis didn't think that Indy would drop points against Sporting Kansas City in the final week of the season. It allowed St. Louis a glimmer of hope. They had to beat Indy to get into the postseason. They did that. In doing so, they finished second in the group. They had to go away to Hartford. Won that in the 93rd minute. And now here in Louisville, trying to take down the champion of their own group. Ownby. That's a poor giveaway in the back half. Blackwood. Lancaster.
What a ball.
Wow. Holpino's going to give chase. Adewale is going to get there.
Not necessarily sure Antoine Opino knew that was coming. That's a fantastic ball by Cameron Lancaster, and great little recovery by Toby Adewale. Just watch the midfield shape here again, Mike. There's Wallfall playing high. Got Guy Ben, Todd Wharton up underneath. That's the preferred look for Steve Tritchu. Again, haven't been able to get any distribution into Wallfall. Their attacking midfielder, the role that he's assumed as the season has gone on. So he's been dropping deeper in. As mentioned previously, the defensive shape also started where they would go flat. It has evolved as the match has gone on, as you can tell. Kyle Gregg, Tyler Blackwood splitting out really thin, but look, that's what they're talking about right now. When they do push him high and they go flat 3, where's the help coming from? Because look how deep Cicerone is, and now Lou City has all the room to play.
Slide in, Wharton. St. Louis has won the ball away effectively. So how do you want to see St. Louis take more control of that midfield? Because coming into this game, a lot of the talk from Louisville was, how do we dictate the tempo and pace of this game, including in the midfield?
Well, it all starts with what their defensive shape is going to be. Right now, you get a good look. Tyler Blackwood on the right, Kyle Gregg on the left, and Wallfall stepping up in. So when they're making Lou City play out of the back, they're basically pushing 3 up. That means that Todd Wharton and Guy Bender isolate in the middle a little bit. That also means you need help from Paris G and Russell Cicerone. The argument just moments ago, it's a good step for the front 3. The problem is when the ball comes out to the outside, Cicerone had dropped so deep, giving respect to this right-sided run out of Brian Ownby, that they had all the room to play with. So it was a quick little rotation out to Pat McMahon, really simple end-around route. That's what you just have to communicate. You have to step up higher into the channel, and that's a really simple ask. Starts from Steve Tritchu. Ask guys like Sam Fink on the back line, just a quick conversation and regain form on the outside.
Ownby dances, widens, McMahon. Ownby once more. Stares down Cicerone, who's been placed into this wingback role. We've mentioned it a couple of times, but at one point, apparently in training, he said to Steve Tritchu, "Can you believe I'm doing this?" Not the role he was destined for, but one he's taken on incredibly over this past month.
Think about his time with Portland Timbers organization, FC Cincinnati, of course, prior to his arrival in 2019. Everything has been that striking look up top, or as a type of 7 or 11 down on the wings.
Here comes Cicerone. There's contact there from Ownby, but clearly not enough. Get the whistle.
Just keep that look for St. Louis FC on the defensive shape we just talked about. If they're going to allow Wallfall to continue to push high, which they are. Here's what I'm talking about, Mike. Now there's the front 3. Check the middle. Corbin Bone coming all the way back as Guy Ben steps. As long as you have this high look on the outside in Cicerone, you're fine. But the second rotation coming back through the middle, that's where Todd Wharton and Guy Ben have to continue an open line of communication. If you don't have the verbal entourage to go alongside the physical prowess, you're going to get yourself into trouble. That's a better recovery, though. Notice, right now, usher this game side to side. Steve Tritchu's okay with that. He said, if we just keep it in front of us, I don't care if they go side to side. It's stretching the game horizontally that I'm worried about.
Fink goes to ground expertly. Bone was trying to race through. Clever little work there. Now St. Louis gets it forward. Wall fall. He swings Thor's hammer. Cicerone. Cicerone found the space. Lifted up. Tosh arrives. Further header away. And brilliant move by Ownby, but gave it back to Wharton only for a moment. McMahon. Fanuel Kavita. Back to Fink. 147 games for St. Louis FC. Remarkable game winner against FC Cincinnati in the 90-plus third in the U.S. Open Cup. That remarkable run. Fenton, Missouri was simply a madhouse all the way up until it ended away to Atlanta. This portion of tonight's game brought to you by Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. Lancaster goes down. There's no hope for advantage. It'll come back.
Seems like any opportunity given to Sam Fink to pull his team up off the mat. Incredible. He takes it, right? Remember that earlier this year, you talked about how tight the margin was against Indy 11. Of course, Indy 11 didn't get a result against Sporting Kansas City 2. Sam Fink, 95th minute goal in that 3-2 victory, September 19th. That gave them the opportunity to continue on, and the past 5 games, only the one loss. That was on September 26th, just a week's time. Think about all the games they had to play. It's an insane amount, 12th, 19th, 23rd, 26th. They finally have an opportunity not only to have everybody healthy, but to actually get 7 days in between matches.
Condensed season providing a surprise respite here at the end for everybody. 1 game a week. Williams waits, delivers, Ownby chases, there's Morton. Sam Fink, you're talking a captain at Wake Forest. Talking about a guy who's Steve Tritchu, who himself was part of the first American side in decades to reach the World Cup. The shot heard around the world in Trinidad and Tobago. Steve Tritchu was there. For him to say, he reminds me a bit of myself. He leads by example. Big words, big expectations for Sam Fink. Continues to be the lifeblood of this St. Louis FC franchise, beginning to end. Ownby. Wall fall trying to close him down. Ownby's ball. In goes Adewale. Hands to the head of Antoine Hopino. One further step forward. Perhaps that's a tap in.
Pretty good ball whipped in by Brian Ownby here. Well done by Speedy Williams. Sometimes you don't have to force the issue here. Sometimes you can just take what the opposition is given to you. Nice little ball lifted to the front post. Antoine Hopino a little bit late to the party. No worries. And can they pin St. Louis FC in here? Much better job here in the second half, albeit only 10 minutes in of them playing a higher line, St. Louis. And Steve Tritchu had to have been concerned the amount of times in the first half that you were relying on the likes of Fanuel Kavita, Sam Fink, and Adewale to play you out of trouble on that back line instead of finding your playmakers in the midfield.
Oh, excellent ball. Wharton is there. Lunt is out. Lunt kick save. Plenty of contact. Referee looking around. Wharton is livid. And now Lunt gobbles it up. Ben Lunt comes out like the Jolly Green Giant. Throws his foot at it. out to Omby. Those are the moments. That ball was magnificent, and Omby tackling Fanuel Kavita with a tap to go with it. And a quick restart. A bend. Cicerone. Numbers entering the area for St. Louis, looking for an equalizer. Cicerone. Wall fall. Williams flies it out. Does eventually find a bend. Years laboring on the Slugger Field surface. He's won a foul here. Another quick restart for St. Louis. Cicerone again. Lined up on a fellow winger. Got the ball across. It's interesting. Cicerone followed. Omby combining with McMahon. Forward here by Kavita. And now the foul, a hip check from Kyle Gregg. Let's take a look all the way back to what St. Louis nearly scored on moments ago.
Again, we had to find a way for St. Louis FC to get their right side attack involved, and here it is, Paris G. Look, one little touch inside, and all of a sudden the back post run opens up. Todd Wharton's got to do better here. Look at all the space he has. And yes, there's pressure coming on the right shoulder of Paolo Del Piccolo. It's not on the favorited foot of Todd Wharton, but still, decisions to be made. Almost balks at it at the end. Little pick up by Ben Loon. That's what they need, though. Got to find a way to keep going over to that right-hand side, Mike. Back-to-back possessions, you moved over there. Now you can start to make Louisville City guess a bit more. Keep them honest in this matchup with Brian Ownby and Russell Cicerone. Move from right and left instead of this one-dimensional look that we saw in the first half.
Ownby. Wall fall, skitters away from Del Piccolo. Wharton. The bend was pointing down the line, and it is Cicerone. Cicerone working in on McMahon, slides this across again, and a palm to that. Able to hang on, Ben Lunt again. And perhaps Louisville's hopes of a 6th straight conference final rest in his hands.
Just slow things down a little bit here, Mike, because of all the movement coming forward for St. Louis FC. Looks like Cicerone's actually trying to put this on his laces and go to goal. Catches it off square, no big deal. Comes back across the 6, and you've got the trailing runners. That's the most important thing now. Mentioned being one-dimensional moments ago by just coming onto the left-hand side. Even further, getting extra options into the final third so that you get Kyle Gregg, Tyler Blackwood, Wall Fall. All of these guys running at Ben Lute. Multiple bodies in the box to challenge him.
Gaia Bend out. No famed Superman punch in this game. He's scoreless this season. On comes Joaquin Rivas, native of Santa Ana, El Salvador, former UNLV player who was critical in the most recent game for St. Louis FC. Sub brought to you by MHS Global. Tosh couldn't get that off Gregg. Gregg gets ripped to ground. Advantage played. Perhaps a bit surprising the whistle never came. A full 360 from Rivas.
It's an attacking move from Steve Tritchie for sure. Mentioned how good Guy Bend was against Hartford Athletic, but this game is looking for another dimension on the offensive side of the ball right now. Let's see how much responsibility he's willing to give him to step even higher up the pitch. You would imagine this would look more like a single pivot moving forward where Todd Wharton will sit underneath Wall Fall and Joaquin Rivas.
Fink chasing after this. Ownby in pursuit as well. Long run here. Morton believes this is a goal kick. It's not. Tom Felice, the AR, and a fellow Fordham alum, points down to the flag. Corner.
Had to get that in there, didn't you?
I did. Interesting thing to me, Devin, in talking with Steve Tritchie, they only used 2 subs in the game against Hartford, and I asked why, whether it was just not wanting to tinker something that was working, and Steve Tritchie said exactly, but if you look, more Sam and Joaquin Rivas, those two made such an impactful influence in the game and eventually involved in the goal.
2 games back-to-back, the exact same look from a substitution standpoint. He knows where they're best right now. You don't mess with that type of chemistry, Mike. It doesn't matter the situation that you're put in, and he's sticking true to his movements right now. Joaquin Rivas trying to get involved right away.
Jimenez, high arcing ball. Lancaster is looking for something simply jaw-dropping. How about this? Two players both thought that the other one would handle it. Ombi will come away with it. Bit unlucky there for Rivas. Less than half an hour to go, plus stoppage. As it stands, Louisville would host the conference final next Saturday night back here at Lynn Family Stadium against either Charleston or Tampa Bay. That game in St. Pete right now is 65 minutes old and still scoreless. There's the whistle. It's with Louisville, who will make two changes. Perhaps an interesting pair of changes at that. Pat McMahon out, Wes Sharpie comes on. That sub brought to you by MHS Global, above and beyond. And out comes Brian Ombi. Napo Masoso returned from a high ankle sprain a week ago. Placing Ombi, sub brought to you by MHS Global, above and beyond.
And the beautiful streak that started this entire run for Louisville City. It's courtesy of that man, Napo Masoso, prior to the injury. It seemed like everything he touched turned to gold, if not better. He's playing at some kind of form, picking up goals and assists left and right. And though it wasn't the biggest surprise, it was a pretty impressive compliment to this Lou City squad that was looking for some help offensively. Cameron Lancaster was pretty much the only one going towards the offensive side at that point in time.
So who is the best University of Kentucky attacker of all time?
Yeah, let's have that conversation in the locker room, right?
Nice ball back here. George Davis having that argument as well. There are others, just not in Louisville. Might stake their claim. Out to Masoso, a proud Wildcat. Masoso snuck that ball through, and if not for that tip, trouble was brewing. Rivas. G. I think you mentioned it enough. I'm not sure I have. That threaded ball by Paris G was piece de resistance.
And notice he just takes the one little step, right? He's on the right-hand side, cut it back across the body, doesn't even put it on the left foot. Understanding that that space on the left is starting to develop. And I don't mind them slowing this down here. There is so much speed in the form of Cicerone, Paris G, of course, Tyler Blackwood. Slow it down. Try and break this Louisville City squad down in 40, 50-yard gaps. I'm totally fine with that. Some pretty impressive technicians on the ball. The problem is that right there, a bit sloppy, about 25 yards from goal or so.
Advantage played. Is this a one-man wrecking crew? Hopino finally stopped. Winning the ball there by Bone. Lancaster got it forward. Jimenez launching for goal. There's Morton up to the task. And now the other way. Kyle Gregg. Good looking ball, just snuck by. Had gotten in behind Sawahi. What a dangerous moment that was. This is not over yet, folks. St. Louis will never die. And here it is again out to Cicerone. 1v1 on an island against Sharpie. Tries to turn, support comes from Speedy Williams. Cicerone pivots, Williams snuffed it out.
Look at all the space in the middle, Mike. Wow.
Hopino against Adewale. That is terrific defense, and Adewale and Lancaster tangle legs, and they are both looking for a whistle that neither will get.
You have to wonder from Antoine Hopino how you just don't look up and wait a second here as you've got Cameron Lancaster coming through. And then back post from Oscar Jimenez as well. It's one of those 166 minutes into a match with the physical and emotional toll that's been taken on the body. Start to second guess some of your decisions.
Given away by Sharpie, who's fresh into the game. Cicerone. Openo, by the way, did grab his team-leading 7th assist of the season on Lancaster's 12th goal of the year, leading the club back in the 18th minute. That's the lone marker of this game. And penalties saved by Ben Luton, the 12th. An offside goal by Sam Fink wiped off the board for St. Louis, and perhaps it was the two players in front of him who interfered with the play that drew that flag, but Fink himself appeared very much in line. And here we are in the 67th minute with Louisville looking to attack once more. Masoso around Cicerone. Okie dokie.
You wonder how long Steve Tritchie lets this go on. His tendency is to pull Tyler Blackwood and make the change for more Sam. Again, so impactful in that Hartford Athletic game. Of course, the match against Indy 11 as well. But you wonder, with the lack of production out of Kyle Gregg tonight, if he's going to go with the striking partner and the speed of Tyler Blackwood and more Sam instead of pulling Tyler Blackwood off. You could pull Gregg instead.
Canio LaPere is available, the wingback. But Dakers and Sam are probably your first options off the bench to try and get where you want to go here for St. Louis.
And the way it's going, I'm not changing Cicerone or Paris G.
No.
Cicerone's been going himself all night as he goes again right here.
Cicerone against Tosh. Did Tosh get a touch to that? He didn't.
Paris G just finding his way into the match now into the second half. Some really good looks for him on that right-hand side, and he's got a lot of work to do. Understand that we're asking a lot out of him offensively because he's still got to match up when Lancaster fluctuates over there. Antoine Openo is the initial thought. Oscar Jimenez coming off the back line. Loads of work to be done defensively, and yet still in the 68th minute of this match, he's finding a way to get involved in this attack going forward. Of course, the fantastic ball played through to Todd Wharton. And still looking for that equalizer.
6 of the last 7 games between these teams dating back to 2018 have been 1-goal games. The 3-0 Louisville win earlier this year, the only one that bucked the trend. History says this was always going to be a tightly fought affair. It's proven out that way. Still a long way to go. St. Louis finished a point out of the postseason 2019. 2018, finally salvation, their first playoff appearance. Williams swarmed, did well to maintain. Gregg gave chase, pops out to a Masoso. Masoso stuck his head in the lion's mouth. That's a high boot from Cicerone. More Sam was putting on his catapult gear a moment ago. GPS tracking and such. Paris G comes out. Sub brought to you by MHS Global. Clearly an attack-minded sub. Are you surprised by the exact change?
And not surprised in terms of the fact that he's going with more Sam. Thought maybe he might change Kyle Gregg up top instead. And that's not a knock on Kyle Gregg. Just more of a like for like. You move more Sam out to that right-hand side. You're giving a lot more of a responsibility to Adewale, shifting over. Of course, you're entrusting the back line in general to keep that tight, cohesive unit that for the most part here in the second half it has been. Again, if you can keep the game in front of you, which is what St. Louis FC is trying to do, they'll be just fine. The problem is, as this game goes on, Mike, they're going to continue to take chances, stretch themselves more, and you open up some real danger spots of space to work for Lou City.
Lancaster, too much on that for Openo. You think back to last week, the game-winning goal. More Sam was tackled en route to goal. Steve Tritchie said he looked at the fourth official. He was bartering for a red card at that point. And in swoops Joaquin Rivas to score in the 3rd minute of stoppage, provide the only goal of that game against Hartford Athletic. Sam tries to get involved again.
So he wasn't the only one. When I go back and watch matches to understand what went on, I look at the scoreline, I say, okay, this team won. I didn't know when they scored their goal. So I'm sitting there on the edge of my seat screaming at the television. Obviously the game's been played 48 hours prior because I watched it on Monday, screaming my lungs off And then Joaquin Rivas says, Devin, I got this, hold my water. Sticks one in, 93rd minute. But it's funny, even the head coach, you know, you're so focused on getting the job done that your mind immediately shifts one way and the play's still going. It was a great job by the refereeing crew to allow the play to continue.
Blackwood rose up for that, and Tosh got a piece. Bone left that off. Tosh steps in. Down into the corner. Holpino arrives. Masoso. Masoso! There's a swipe from Morton. Lancaster gives chase. And finally, Morton corrals it. Fires out the other way. Blackwood off of Speedy Williams, a throw.
It looked like Toby Adewale took a little knock here. Watch Lancaster, he's got ups on this one. Basically floating in midair. Poor touch by the center back. Well done by Lancaster to recognize that window had opened up. Little shoulder to shoulder. Toby Adewale goes down to ground. Cameron Lancaster with the limp. As mentioned before, Blue City has been monitoring that.
And he did take a knock back in the first half as well, something to keep in mind. Taken back here by Lou City. Comes over to Rivas, now Wharton. Sam. Sam getting all the way down. Sharpie pokes it away. Vital moment. This will lead to a corner right in front of the Louligans, who finally have a corner to call their own again. You want to talk about just a remarkable fan base in the Midwest. Louisville and St. Louis among those carrying the torch. The beautiful game. They haven't had the chance to watch their team at home. Finally a chance to watch it here. Cicerone with a deflection. Bone. Back out wide. He did stay onside. Cicerone delivers. Bone as far as Rivas. Rivas floats this up. Goal kick.
Well, let's see how long they let this progress with Cameron Lancaster. Behind the scenes, he's limping for sure, and there it is. It's spot on. Just moments prior, Mike, he got tangled up at midfield, and a little motion to the sideline. Didn't look good for him. We could see him in our alternate cameras that he was just sort of waiting around, and when this ball just got sprayed back out, there was no challenge coming from him, as he had done all night long. His night will be done. Luke Spencer will be entrusted at helping to see this thing out in the 9 position.
He scored in the 18th minute. It was his 12th of the season. His health will be simply paramount this week should Louisville advance when they host either Tampa Bay or Charleston. If St. Louis can equalize, perhaps grab a winner, this could be the end of Cameron Lancaster, who returned to Louisville after a loan spell began shortly before preseason. A yellow shown here to Lunt for time wasting. Yellow brought to you, of course, by World of Beer. On a difficult time in Nashville for Cameron Lancaster, and he has absolutely stunted the entire year. Now it's up to Luke Spencer, who has yet to score a goal this year. He's been asked to do so much of the dirty work. Greg. Oh, there's room out there, and Greg spots it. A little gallop here to Rivas. Wharton. Now the overlapping run. Oh, there's room here. Could the captain have a go? Kavita for Sam. Masoso lost his footing a second time. Perhaps an issue with the footwear on the night.
Slowing the game down is one thing when you get into a compressed space, but Heading into the hydration break, there's got to be a conversation from Steve Tritchu about getting his playmakers back on the ball. Joaquin Rivas, Wallfall, Todd Wharton really had a 10 or 15 minute window, especially coming off that chance from Paris G, where they started to gain some momentum. The problem is that's gone by the wayside, and Louisville City sitting back. They're more than happy to allow Fanwell Kavita or Toby Adewale to come after him. That was the issue in the first half that seemingly was fixed. Started the second, no more.
Fans head to Twitter to vote for it tonight's Dr. Mark Lennon Associates VisionWorks Man of the Match. Poll open the next few minutes. Vote now. Twitter.com/LouCityFC. Let's get you caught up on what has been a wild affair here in the Eastern Conference semifinal. St. Louis nearly had the opening goal of this game. 11th going to the 12th minute. There's this foul from Tosh.
Tosh has to do better here. Understands that he's trying to track back, but doesn't even get a clean look on it. Takes Tyler Blackwood down, but Ben Loon takes Wallfall down. It's a good save by the goalkeeper, not the best of penalties. And let's run it back the other direction. 18th minute, great job by Opino. The run from Brian Ownby pulls the back line off. You just see the little tuck in by Fanwell Kavita. It comes too close to the interior from Sam Fink. No communication. Lancaster set up on the back post. He buries it as he always does. 2 playoff goals for that man, by the way, prior to his departure. Sam Fink would equalize just moments later, but it's called back from a phantom offside call. We have looked at this from many angles, still don't see it. St. Louis FC got to feel hard done by the fact this call's called back. Regardless, still in this game, 1-0 in the 77th minute.
Do you feel there was interference provided by the 2 players in front of Fink that would have caused that to be offside? Or do you think that's, we can't ask the AR?
No, I don't see that argument whatsoever. And they're pointing directly at Fink from the referee. Now, what comes on in the game report is a different story.
Elsewhere, Lucky M. Kosana scored in the 79th minute in St. Pete. Lucky M. Kosana, the former Louisville City player a year ago, traded 1-for-1 with Antoine Opino.
Absolutely.
Both of whom have flourished at their next stops. Could it be Rowdies versus Louisville? John Hackworth himself, a former season ticket holder for the Rowdies during his time in Bradenton with the U.S. Youth National Team Residency Program. The Rowdies on the last day had a chance to guarantee that the road for the Eastern Conference playoffs went through St. Pete and didn't get the job done. Louisville did. That may come to a head next Saturday night.
And this is just eerie for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Cam Kasana came on as a substitute in that 4-2 victory over Birmingham Legion. That was 2-2 at the time. He scored in the 78th minute in that match.
Bone with a missile. There's Morton again. If St. Louis is to advance, Kyle Morton has played a massive role.
Just 1 minute separating it this time around with Kasana in the 79th against the Charleston Battery. But keeping Lou City off the score sheet, Kyle Morton having himself some kind of night, feeling it in every direction. This is a really difficult save. Beautiful little 1-2 triangle at the top. Great hold-up play by Luke Spencer. Understands that Corbin Bone's gonna drift off that right-hand shoulder. Bottom corner save.
Corner. Touch to that from Tosh. How about we do another corner? Corners are presented by Single Point Solutions. In your corner with superior customer support. Single Point Solutions. Jimenez delivers. There's Greg. Tossed right in. Bone. Jimenez. Couple of iffy bounces there. And now the whistle goes against Paolo Del Piccolo. That's one I may have allowed to continue.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily sure I agree there on that foul.
Either way, St. Louis would have had the ball, but a different scenario. Coming out of a dead ball situation rather than out of that chaotic moment. 10 minutes plus stoppage to go here.
We talked about the strong starts for Louisville City FC. Don't sleep on St. Louis. This team's closers. Better portion of 70% of their goals coming after the halftime whistle, Mike. 15 out of 22 to be exact. So this team closes well. Be really great with opportunities at the tail end of a match. Late game heroics come to mind when you think of this team. Of course, Sam Fink's an easy one, but Wallfall throwed his name in there. Joaquin Rivas most recently. 10 minutes to go. By no means are they out of this thing.
Louisville scored in the 18th minute. They've scored first in their last 13. They've scored in the first half of games now in their last 9. Picked up by Morton and fires it out off of Sharpie. Gregg weaves that through. Gregg trying to get back on the other side. Blackwood has been such a talisman for St. Louis FC. Spencer will trot around with Wall-Fall. Wale bouncing. There's danger there for a rebound. Lunt maintains. What a story Ben Lunt's been. Talking about a 25-year-old with time in the Hertha Berlin setup. 8 shutouts this year. Last year it was an ankle injury that saw Chris Hubbard into the spotlight, the Louisville native. But Lunt has made this position his own this year. Impressive. Night in and night out. Holpino. Oh, there's options percolating. Holpino slow to the jump. Battling with Fink as time ticks away. More Sam arrives as well. Now Holpino's broken through. Free kick.
This will be a card for Sam Fink, and to be honest, Antoine Holpino gets lucky here. He's got Oscar Jimenez initially on the back post. Holds up on that one. A little do-si-do on the end line. Great job of not only getting behind more Sam, but watch him just turn Sam Fink around. Little Meg, how do you do? And watch how clever Lou City get on this set piece. This team prides itself from dead ball situations. We mentioned the looks coming out of St. Louis FC in the first half. Keep an eye. The training ground tricks will be on full display right now. And you've got Corbin Bone who can strike this. Look at all the space right at the top of the 6 as well. Loads to be had.
World of Beer yellow, 5th, 3rd free kick.
No one stepping with Oscar Jimenez right here either.
And more Sam's thinking about it. There he goes. Interesting moment here for Del Piccolo. Knocked down and in! It's in! Louisville up by 2! Are they going back to the final? Luke Spencer is dumbfounded. If this is his, it's his first of the year. 2-0 Louisville City.
And the only option that has been untapped this season is Luke Spencer on the back post. This is a great ball by Del Piccolo, but it actually looks like it's an own goal coming off the back post run. Look at the matchup, 100%. That comes off Toby Adewale. It's a little shoulder to shoulder by Luke Spencer, but it's enough. Gives them the 2-goal cushion inside 10 minutes. And could it be 6 in a row?
6 straight conference finals with a win here tonight. In your mind, is that a foul on Spencer through the back or no?
No, definitely not. Both guys vying for position on the ball, doing battle with each other. Adewale actually almost leaving the feet on his own. His momentum drifting forward. He actually wins the header.
Are you surprised here? Ockford in, Swahi out, a sub brought to you by MHS Global, above and beyond.
Not surprised that he's bringing on Jimmy Ockford. It's more the fact that he's taking off Lexi Swahi. We have seen in games past pull one of the holding midfielders and put that fit defender on, but John Hackworth admitting to us that maybe some of the looks that he's given, he didn't necessarily get right. He and Danny Cruz went back, looked at tape, felt like maybe we should have just gone like for like. That's exactly what you get out of this situation. Fresh legs on the back line, good relationship with he and Chantosh to help see this game out.
Now for Louisville, that was their 4th sub. In the end, it'll be their final sub. That was their 3rd window used. Brought in Masoso and Sharpie together, Spencer later, and then Ockford. Masoso picked up by Morton. Comes out of the smoke with 5 minutes left to try for a miracle for St. Louis, and it'd be nothing short of that. Nothing left to save up for. Good ball ahead. Knocked out wide, Wall-Fall. Big rebound toward the line and cleared. Oscar Jimenez came in late, drove it out of play. Inches from getting St. Louis back within one. Corner. What does this second half team, this comeback kid, still have? Corner bounces down. Rivas, bouncing ball. Knocked out wide. Cicerone, nothing there. Sub coming here. Blackwood a moment ago.
Check out Oscar Jimenez on the back post here. Well done. Wallfall just trying to put it on frame. Great follow-up by Sam Fink, and it's not even close. Oscar Jimenez ushering this off the line. Speedy Williams there as well. They ask so much of him in that left back position. Just given a bit more down the stretch.
Greg gave chase. That fell down in the box again. MHS Global sub. On comes Kadeem Dakers. Ball slips through. Wallfall cuts it. Is this a goal? It is. Not offside. There's the flag. Referee waited a moment. Didn't give the goal, and indeed it's off. Kyle Gregg. St. Louis has put two in the back of the net, and neither have counted.
And notice there's no real argument coming out of St. Louis FC right now. Really well done. Look at the patience by Todd Wharton. Doesn't hit the panic button. Little flick on by Moore Sam. Unselfish by Wallfall. Once again, I see a back post run of Oscar Jimenez there.
Moore Sam checks back and wins this. The Rowdies and the Battery are now in stoppage time. Lucky M. Kosana's goal for Tampa Bay in St. Pete right now, the go-ahead goal. Corey Herzog has scored in Reno. Phoenix Rising on the ropes early in that game inside 10 minutes. And the other game in the Western Conference, New Mexico and El Paso. Driven ball into the corner, sets up perfectly. There's the service toward Gregg, keeps it alive. Back for Rivas. St. Louis has continued to throttle as hard as they can late in this game. Without two goals, they're playing the final minutes of their franchise's existence. Wallfall out of his reach. Another ball lobbed forward, and Wallfall catch up to this with Moore Sam trailing in behind. Rivas looking to serve. There's the ball. Soso Tosh.
And they'll just keep everybody playing up high right now as it gets packed in. Sam Fink has pretty much parked a tent right around the top of the 18, trying to find that beautiful head of his who has saved them so many times before.
Don Piccolo unlucky to have that ricochet. There's a reason in the end. There's a foul. The man of the match is voted on by the fans, presented by Dr. Mark Lynn and Associates Vision Works. Ben Loon. Is he about to find his 9th shutout of the season? In doing so, it'd be a pretty remarkable happenstance, all that's gone on in this game. Dangerous back pass that Morton lines away. Should be more than a couple of minutes of stoppage time, but not much more. This is a team that thought they were the team of destiny. Louisville felt that way a year ago, and it all came crashing down. You can almost pinpoint the exact second it occurred against Real Monarchs in the final last season. 5 minutes of added time. Stoppage time presented by Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. Tosh There's Fink, who's playing way up the field, trying to make a late impact. Kadeem Dakers, the former Louisville player. Cicerone, Dakers. Dakers against Jimenez. Holpino arrives.
Louisville just step on the ball here a little bit. Notice every single time they get it, they're trying to run downfield, and I do understand there is all this space, but at the same point in time, you don't have to force it. Just kill this clock. The last thing you want to do is overexpose, sending a couple runners up top, and the next thing that happens is St. Louis FC grab one back. Obviously more than capable of it. We've seen it in the first half, form of beautiful set piece right around where Todd Wharton's standing right now. Sam Fink stuck that one in the back of the net, of course, waved off. And then just inside 10 minutes ago, another one, beautiful ball back across by Wall Fall, but Kyle Gregg has his taken away.
Sam, regrettably out of play.
And instead, 3.5 to go. Looks like 6 Eastern Conference Finals in a row that this team is going to hit, Mike. Unfathomable. It truly is.
Remember the hashtags in July? Sack hack.
Unfortunately, I do. One of the more absurd things that I think we've seen come across social media. Obviously, everybody's willing to voice their own opinion, but understanding what this team, the entire organization, front office, more importantly, the coaching staff are capable of. Watch out here.
It's a yellow to more Sam.
You have to allow this to develop, and if anything has shown you, history serves you well for having patience with Louisville City. Under James O'Connor, then of course more recently, John Hackworth taking over the reins just after the mid-May mark in 2018. This team only knows success. Lost the Eastern Conference Finals to Rochester Rhinos in 2015, who would go on to win it. Of course, the Bob Lilly coach team back then. Red Bull 2, 2016. I don't even want to talk about the players that were on that squad. Speedy Williams will have a little say, though. And then they took it all down in 17, their first start. 18, their second. 19, the third eluded them, courtesy of Round Monarchs, as you mentioned, but now another opportunity for them to add to their trophy case. It's barring anything spectacular in extra time here, they will be headed back to the Eastern Conference Championship once again. I think it's easy for people to say who would have thunk it, but if you watch enough, you saw this coming.
.100 seconds to go. Is there something miraculous still in the cards for St. Louis? Otherwise, Louisville beyond to the conference final yet again. Goal kick. Lucky M. Kosana's goal stands. The Rowdies have defeated the Charleston Battery, which seemed like it would never happen. Neil Collins' side will make their way up, it appears, to Louisville, Kentucky next Saturday night for a conference final for the ages. At this stage, the outcome is all but decided. St. Louis could have taken a lead 12 minutes in and could have equalized shortly before the half. Could have had another one along the way. Penalty saved, a set piece offside, a ball cleared from the line, another goal offside. And in the end, Louisville again reigns supreme in the postseason. A simply remarkable run. Holpino goes down, free kick. It's a matter of time now. Louisville exults, paired with the heartbreak of St. Louis FC. Louisville is going to their 6th consecutive conference final. And it comes at the hands of such a beloved rival in St. Louis FC, who's running the championship, ends tonight. And the faces of these St. Louis fans who have loved just so much. A group that, when their field was washed away, crowdfunded $86,000 to replace it. It's a painful moment for St. Louis fans. For Louisville, it is the continued run of October success. It's dated now for 4 years. And they'll face Tampa Bay next Saturday night here at Lynn Family Stadium.
I can promise you this, October for sure, but they have their eyes set on November once again. They understand everything that's expected of them. And no matter the variables, 2020, which everybody's had to deal with, injuries, low knees, poor form to start, Louisville City trusted the process. They trusted each other, this coaching staff, and once again, the road to the Eastern Conference Final is going to run through Louisville City. An opportunity as the #1 overall seed in the East. And they will host the Rowdies. The Rowdies will have the belief. But if you're John Hackworth and co, you've got to feel really good about your chances headed in to that championship match, Mike.
Let's take a look at tonight's Toyota move of the game. Toyota, let's go places.
And everything's going to come down to this beautiful ball by Antoine Openo. Check out Cameron Lancaster. Well done, because he could have rushed this, hit it first time, he doesn't. Beautifully taken down off the chest. Little volley right out of the air, bottom corner. Louisville City was off and running. There would be a response from St. Louis FC. That is taken away. They pad their lead late into the game, courtesy of the own goal from Toby Adewale.
0 goals allowed makes it a Voluforms clean sheet. 2nd of the postseason, 9th of the year for Ben Luton Co. As Louisville City, once again in the playoffs, simply magnificent. The lights flicker, Lynn Family Stadium. Next, the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety post-game wrap-up.
During the Today's the Day event, lease this 2020 Camry LE for $199 a month, or get the last of the 2020 Camrys with 0 for 60 financing, or get up to $3,000 customer cash. Toyota, let's go places.
For the fans who started painting 3 hours before the game. For the fans who celebrate with high fives. For the huggers, the chest bumpers, and this guy. For fans like you who do things your way, there's Park Community Credit Union. Your city, your team, your way.
Love getting prices that are lower than low on food that's fresher than fresh? With the Kroger app, you can get personalized coupons on top of weekly sales and rewards like fuel points, all for prices that are lower than the everyday low. So go ahead, get lower than low. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the scene tonight in Louisville, and the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety post-game wrap-up continues. Devin, St. Louis FC entered this league in a city that everyone knows has such a burning passion for soccer. These fans have not been able to go to games over the course of the last month. It's so difficult to watch your team fade away in such a difficult climate, COVID-19. There are going to be a lot of tears tonight. These Louligans have seen franchises come and go. They'll have another one in 2023 Major League Soccer, but your heart breaks for these fans who you and I both really do love. They've been phenomenal over the years.
It's a rough way to go out for sure. Understand that whether it was Dale Schilly, Brecky, Anthony Pulis, and of course now Steve Tritchu, everybody had a vision and an identity. More importantly, the community understood what it was like to be involved from the ground level. You mentioned, the crowdfunding source before. This has got to be really difficult to take in general, yet alone on the road. My hat's off to this organization. for seeing this out. Everything that they've been through. Cannot imagine what it's like to be in those players' shoes right now. And those young gentlemen having the understanding to go over, say thank you to the fans for trusting the process. They fall short, but they should all hold their heads high, Mike, because to be honest, you said this about 25, 30 minutes into the game. Not one single player on this team right now will have a problem getting a job next year. They pushed through and persevered through everything that was thrown at them. When everybody said they were down and out, they were not willing to accept it. Again, 2 goals to Louisville City on the road, but a valiant effort put forth by Steve Tritchu and every single player and fan from St. Louis FC.
Meanwhile, dispatched at the hands of Louisville City, who are on to another conference final. Let's take a look at the full-time highlights, and Morton would figure into this game prominently. He was one of many on both sides who were simply magnificent. Let's begin back in the 12th minute. Wall fall, saved by Loon.
Both goalkeepers tonight were spectacular. And the first call to arms was going to be from Ben Lute from the spot. Wall fall doesn't get enough behind it, doesn't get it close enough to the post. Great save by the goalkeeper. Immediate response from the home squad. Again, this all goes back to Brian Ownby, Mike. His run coming back across the middle pulls the entire back line all out of sorts. Coming in, there's got to be one thing on your mind. You cannot leave Cameron Lancaster alone. They get that wrong. He gets it right. It's 1-0 Lou City. Goal called back by Sam Fink. Late game heroics. There's a shoulder charge from Luke Spencer for sure on Adewale. Is it in behind? Don't see enough there because you still get ahead on it if you're Adewale, and it's not a redirect that's going to push in another direction. You would get a late game goal from St. Louis FC, but again, this one is called back as well. This is the first chance coming off wall fall. Cleared off the line by Oscar Jimenez. Great job, Johnny, on the spot. Check out the back post run. Beautiful clearance coming off. Moments later, unselfish by Wallfall. Love the ball from Todd Wharton. The flick by Morsam even better. Square ball back across. And here's my thing. I think St. Louis FC fans at home are going to be frustrated. Nobody on the squad is arguing. Nobody's saying, hey, we were onside. How can you call that? Everybody kind of says, okay, yeah, I was out in front of this. It stays 2-0. Louisville City, 6th consecutive Eastern Conference final.
As you can see on the graphic, the Audis taking on the Louisville Sit in the conference final. Here's what it looks like. Tampa Bay will visit Louisville City next Saturday night.
Interesting. Another 3-back system for John Hackworth and co to break down. I think they'll be really excited to see where the success came against the Charleston Battery. This is a team in the Tampa Bay Rowdies that most coaches and players around the league are still kind of turning their head, wondering exactly what they are. To lose 3 times in a row and a draw, mind you, against the Charleston Battery, and still be able to pick yourself up and get a victory. Don't care that it was at home. Everybody counted the Rowdies out except themselves. They get a victory and an opportunity to go to their first ever USL Championship final.
And so it's the end for St. Louis FC, the 16th and final Kings Cup, as the fans will be the last out of this building, I would imagine, before they make their trip back home. And these fans have given so much to these players and vice versa. One of the league's great franchises says goodbye. St. Louis, we love you. Louisville City, you're on to another conference final, your 6th in a row. Lancaster, the opening goal. St. Louis FC provide a valiant effort, but Lou City on to take on Tampa Bay next Saturday night. For Eric Falero, Gio Guerrero, Manny Simone, Devin Kerr alongside Mike Watts saying thanks for watching. Lou City 2, St. Louis FC 0. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.